I'm Sylvia, Leiner, Shordike. I want to talk to you about tummy time. I know this is a very interesting subject for a lot of young parents. Parents are told often to put their infant, starting already at 3 weeks old sometimes, to put them on the belly. And the idea is that that will help the infant to gain strength and that it will help the development of the infant. Well, I would like to invite you to think about it differently. The key question I'm asking you to think about is, at this early age, what exactly is the infant learning when placed by her parent on the belly compared to what she would be learning if she were instead freely exploring on her back? These are important questions. So here I will be using videos of children and also of myself as a model, which I hope will help you be mindful about how the baby learns on her back some key developmental steps in ways that are not available when she is on the belly. So let's start by taking a look at several videos of the same 3-month-old neurotypical infant whose parents never placed her on the belly for tummy time. So here you see her on the back and she's exploring with movement very happily. She discovered that when she pushes with the heels into the floor, that her hips come off. Sometimes she does it more with the left side, sometimes more with the right. But she's lifting her pelvis. If you would do that movement yourself on the floor, you would recognize that for that you have to use your extensor muscles, your back muscles, in order to bring your pelvis up into the air. And this is what this baby is doing. Tummy time would not have helped her do these movements. In fact, this baby was never put on the belly. And look with what kind of a joy and vital strength she does this movement. But it's not because she has such strong muscles. She just uses the muscles that she needs to lift her pelvis and to shift her pelvis a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. In other words, it's not strengthening the muscles or the organization on the belly. No, this baby is doing it on the back before she learns to roll onto the belly. And here you see the same baby, and she's rolling very happily from side to side, and she's grabbing her feet. She's grabbing her hand or her arm and to her back. She puts her hands in the mouth. She is rolling over her sides, rolling over her hips. She's rolling through her shoulder girdle. In other words, she is shifting weight from side to side. That informs her nervous system where she is in space relative to her environment, relative to gravity. Very important. And also, as you notice, her head is constantly rolling from side to side. So with a neurotypical developing child, if everything is okay, they will roll their head from side to side and there's no danger of getting a flat head unless there's something going on and they cannot move their head freely. But then it would be even more a reason not to put them on the belly. Other things would have to be done. And now that you have seen the babies move, I want to show you through me a few examples of what a baby does. When the baby lifts both legs, learns to flex, learns to round the spine, learns to roll the pelvis up, then the part where they find their feet is extremely important also for the development of the eyesight. When is my hand closed? When is my foot closed? When is it further away? They learn to focus. And then the very important movement they do is the shifting of weight throughout their dynamic core rolling the pelvis from side to side. You've seen it in the kids. Rolling the head from side to side. The spine gets to twist. There's a rotational movement and the twisting movement. Their sternum and chest move. Their breathing is free. They learn where is my left side. They learn where is my right side. And then they learn all these side movements very soon on the back. So they're already moving their side muscles, the connection between the flexors and the extensors in the back. Now we have the side movement, the side bend. The child first learns to then lift their head a little bit sideways throughout the spine with lightness, with ease. That's so important, and they feel I'm easy, I have all these possibilities until they learn how to roll onto the belly, and by then they're comfortable with their head up vertical and there's zero discomfort. In fact, that's when they feel, oh, from here I'm gonna go somewhere. And that's when the next developmental step approaches, reaching, creeping, crawling, and beyond. Let's go back again to watching the same infant who we started with, who never had any tummy time. This girl's native learning process, what I call daily neuroplasticity, was fully engaged. Completely on her own, she organized her spine with her head balancing on top of the spine, fully engaging her extensor muscles. This created the sense of comfort, safety, and agency that allowed her to finally roll all by herself onto her belly and lift her head. In short, because her parents left her on the back, she learned many little pieces that combined and led to much more complex movements. And this girl is by no means unique. In my experience, neurotypical infants who are left to freely explore on their back have no problem learning to roll by themselves from the back to the belly, sometimes earlier and sometimes later. Through their own exploration and native learning process on their back, they have organized their front, back, and side muscles in ways that optimize complex and interrelated movements. This natural learning leads not only to self-powered rolling onto the belly, but then to pushing up, reaching, creeping, and crawling. And if you don't interrupt this beautiful process that a child can go through, if you give it the time without interfering, that's when a child develops the optimal organization that they need. Of course, my colleagues and I, my graduates, we are working with children with special needs who cannot maybe follow the typical trajectory to learn how to come onto the belly. But in order for me to help that child to come to the belly and be comfortable on the belly, I need to understand how the neurotypical child makes this transition from the back to the belly. And then we are much better able to envision how to optimize the developmental trajectory of kids with special needs. And now, what happens when a child is on the floor, on the tummy, and they're not ready to be on the tummy? So the infant is not able to lift the head freely on the belly yet. And you will maybe have seen that in your own baby. So that means their face often rubs on the floor Baby tries to do some bumpy movement reflexively with the head, but it's not very comfortable doing it. And sometimes it manages to put the head on the side, sometimes on the other side, but it's not able to connect the organization from the head through the spine all the way to the pelvis. That they learn later on through all the movements they do on the back and on their sides. That will lead them to the belly. But without all these steps, you plop them on the belly, then they are stuck here. They cannot do any random movement. They don't know yet how to lift the arm up. They don't know yet how to lift their leg up. They're kind of stuck on the floor and they try to wiggle. And often they express their discomfort, starting to cry. If they're on the belly and cannot move freely, their breathing is not as free as it could be when they're on the back. So when I'm here as a baby, I don't really feel that I can shift weight freely. My random free movements are stopped because I'm in a position that I don't know how I got here and I'm not comfortable. Why am I not comfortable? Because I can't move freely. But when I'm here, I can move freely and I have joy. And the most important thing, I can shift my weight. That is so important because a child learns by shifting weight how to maneuver or how to be in gravity, because it has to learn to work through gravity to come up eventually. And one of the most important things for the child is to learn to shift weight from one point to the other. Otherwise, they're stuck. So every minute your infant, your baby, is on the back and having free random movement, your baby is learning, your baby is feeling, your baby is experiencing itself. It's not about how fast an infant comes to the next milestone. It's about how the child comes to the next milestone. So I want to invite you to give your infant all the time they need on the floor, with you, observing them, playing with them. The floor time is so important because then they learn and explore exactly in the way that they need to. The point here is to just observe what's happening. Take the time to observe your child or any other kids. What are they actually doing on their back? And then maybe you can come to your own conclusion that what they're doing is amazing and important and will lead them to the next step. If you see your child is not freely moving on its back and cannot freely move the head from side to side, seek out a skilled practitioner who is able to elicit the native learning in a child through neuroplasticity by using gentle movement. I hope this was helpful and thanks for listening.